Yo, what's going on, y'all? I'm JB Hoops, and today I'm going to be breaking down my 2025 Too Early preseason mock draft with picks 1 through 14. This video will be out a little later than I planned, so the NBA and international prospects have already kicked off their seasons, but the college basketball season is just about to start in under a week. For the draft order, I've just based it off the expected win totals of the teams, as we obviously won't know the actual order until lottery night. This is my first video of the 2025 draft class, and I'm super excited to get back into the swing of things. So make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more draft and NBA related content, and I'll have more videos coming soon. But anyway, let's just get right into it. Starting off with the first pick in the 2025 draft, as a shock to absolutely no one, I have the Nets taking Cooper Flagg, the 6'9" phenom headed to Duke. Simply put, Flagg is a generational prospect. He does it all on both ends, is ridiculously polished and clean. He can put the ball on the floor, he's an awesome playmaker, and his handle and jumper have improved rapidly. Cooper's defense is special with his combination of length, quick leap, ground coverage, foot speed, and timing. And he can dominate games with his driving and finishing, dunking everything and maximizing his length, touch, and athleticism to finish over, around, or through defenders. He'll be just 17 for Duke's first 12 games of the season, and the sky is the limit for him. I expect we'll see some ridiculous plays and numbers from him on both ends of the floor, whilst he continues to develop as a shooter and creator. Brooklyn obviously have heaps of picks, and they'll likely be a few years away from competing again with their lack of top-end talent, but Cooper Flagg could change that very quickly, and he'll be must-watch TV this year at Duke. With the second pick in the draft, I have the Wizards taking Dylan Harper, the 6'6" guard headed to Rutgers. Washington are right in the middle of their rebuild after drafting some awesome young prospects in Alex Sarr, Bilal Coulibaly, and other high upside guys like Bub Carrington and Keyshawn George, and I think adding a potential star talent in Dylan Harper to lead their rebuild would be a perfect consolation prize for missing out on Flagg. Dylan Harper does everything on the floor, he's a strong ball handler and high level playmaker who can score from all three levels and really defend. He does have some things he'll need to work on, like his right hand finishing, low release point, and consistency on both ends of the floor. But all in all, Harper is a phenomenal lead guard prospect with tons of upside, and I expect he'll have a huge freshman season. Next up at 3, I have the Blazers taking his teammate Ace Bailey. I like the Blazers core and still have a lot of faith in Scoot Henderson, so adding a two-way high upside guy into that mix would be really fun. The 6'9" freshman is a top tier level shot maker with incredible size and tools. He has a really quick jump shot with an almost unblockable release point, and his foot speed, ground coverage, and length give him the tools to be a damaging defender. His thin frame and loose handle lead him to be a bit too reliant on tough shot making with his inability to create easier looks for himself, and we saw that in his preseason matchup versus St. John's where only one of his 18 shot attempts were in the paint. Ace is a capable passer, a great athlete with a runway, but has similar issues to Jabari Smith and Brandon Miller in terms of utilizing his athleticism and size. So whilst I really love his upside, it'll be interesting to see how he fares against bigger and better athletes. But in this mock, I have the Blazers taking Ace Bailey with the 3rd pick in the draft. With the 4th pick, I have the Pistons drafting VJ Edgecombe, the 6'5" freshman headed to Baylor. The Pistons are at a really interesting spot after drafting at the top end of the lottery for several years now, so if they find themselves in this situation again, I think that could influence who they go for, but in this mock I have them going with Edgecombe. VJ is a high-flying 2-guard who plays with tenacity on both ends of the floor. He was really impressive with the Bahamas during the Olympic qualifiers, averaging 17, 6, and 4 with 2 steals across the 4 games he played alongside NBA talent like Buddy Hield, DeAndre Ayton, and Eric Gordon. Edgecombe is awesome off the ball, cutting, draining spot-up threes and attacking off the catch, but can also get it done ball in hand. And if he can continue to improve as a creator and playmaker, he'll be a high lottery pick for sure. Chicago are on the clock with pick 5, and I have them taking Carmen Malwach, the 7'2" freshman headed to Duke. Carmen is a very raw prospect, and there's a lot he'll need to improve, but the flashes of dominance and fluidity are just so tantalizing. He's a strong play finisher with good touch and just outrageous size. His jumper is solid and he's a powerful shot blocker on the other end. He'll definitely need to put on some size, but he's super young, skilled, and has all the tools to be awesome on both ends of the floor. And at this stage, the Bulls just desperately need talent, especially from the center position, so I have them taking Carmen Malwach at 5. The Utah Jazz have the 6th pick, and I have them going with Nolan Traore. The 6'5" French guard is a strong playmaker with the ability to play on or off the ball, and he can hold his own defensively. He's really effective in the pick and roll, getting downhill and creating good looks both for himself and for his teammates. He can also hit the 3, spotting up or pulling up off the bounce, and he's gotten off to an impressive start from distance for Saint-Quentin. Although his jumper is a little slow, so I think he could potentially face some issues getting it off against NBA defenders. And I also think a lot of his improvement areas will develop as he gets stronger. In my opinion, Traore is the best player available at this point, and I think he and Keyonte George could be a really exciting backcourt for the future. Traore also needs to develop more counters, as he can get shut off or just pick up his dribble too early, and the mid-range and in-between area is something he could definitely go to more. But overall, Traore is an awesome prospect who's got off to a pretty impressive start to the season, and should be a great pickup for the Jazz at 6. The Raptors are up at 7, and I have them selecting the 7'3" Aussie big man playing for Brisbane, Rocco Zikarsky. Rocco would be an anchor for the Raptors defense and allow Scotty to thrive as a roamer, and I think he's got a lot more to give offensively that could be tapped into with more reps and minutes. He's a ginormous presence on the defensive end with very solid speed and mobility for his size. Zikarsky's got good instincts on both ends, can pass, make a play off the dribble, and just dominate defenders with his size and touch. His thin frame definitely holds him back going against grown men in the NBL, but he's handled himself pretty well and dominated against kids his own age for years. I also wouldn't be shocked if he eventually develops into a decent shooter. He can hit free throws and his form is clean, but at the moment and early on in his career, I expect he'll be a play finisher who cleans things up and makes an impact on both ends of the floor. So I have the Toronto Raptors taking Rocco Zikarsky with the 7th pick in the draft. Next up, we have the Hornets with the 8th pick, and I have them taking Trey Johnson, the 6'6" freshman headed to Texas. The Hornets have a clear star in LaMelo and a guy who's shown a lot of promise in Brandon Miller, and adding a big guard who can make shots from anywhere and impact on the defensive end with his length, quickness, instincts and technique would be a really nice addition. Trey can play on or off the ball, he has a tight handle and is capable of making a wide variety of shots with his quick release, touch and confidence. His decision making both as a scorer and playmaker and his overall consistency on both ends will hugely affect his draft stock, but Johnson has the tools, talent and confidence to be a very valuable player at the next level, so I have the Charlotte Hornets taking Trey Johnson at 8. Now we have the Spurs with the 9th pick, and I have them going with Kasparas Jakushonis, the 6'6" Lithuanian headed to Illinois. The Spurs obviously need to put the right pieces alongside Wemby. Devin Vassell is nice, Castle and Sohan have looked solid so far, and it looks like they want Castle to be their point guard, but I'm not so confident that'll end up happening. So I think Kasparas could step into that position with his high level playmaking and creation ability. He has a tight handle and counters for everything, and can create advantages off the dribble or just pull up in the defender's grill, with his quick release and really impressive footwork to balance himself and comfortably gather the ball. He does kind of shoot the ball with both hands, and I'd like to see more patience and manipulation as both the scorer and playmaker, as he can make his mind up early or just make the first read, which isn't always the best one. But Jakushonis is a sick prospect who'll be a lot of fun to watch this season at Illinois, and that's why I have the Spurs taking him at 9. The Spurs are back on the clock straight away with the 10th pick from Atlanta, and I have them taking the 6'7" South Carolina sophomore Colin Murray-Boyles. He's a strong-bodied, versatile forward who moves well in space, can defend multiple positions, put the ball on the floor and make quick decisions. CMB was ridiculously productive on both ends for the last few months of his freshman year, scoring in the paint at will with his strength, soft touch and athleticism, and causing havoc defensively with his length, switchability, rim protection and effort. The Spurs might end up trading a pick or two if they have 2 lotto picks, but I think they need to acquire talent regardless, and I think there's a good chance Murray-Boyles has an All-American caliber season, and if he starts taking and making threes, he could go even higher in the draft. But for now, I have the Spurs taking Murray-Boyles at 10. OKC are on the clock at 11 with the Clippers pick, and I have them taking Noah Sengue, the 6'9" French forward playing in Germany. The Thunder obviously have an unbelievably talented roster, so I have them taking an upside swing on one of the youngest players in the draft who keeps getting better and better. Sengue is a high-level athlete with awesome tools who's making an impact as a play finisher and versatile defender at 17 in a pro league. And with the Thunder, he'll be able to develop his game in the G League, and within a few years could be a very impactful two-way forward. So I have the Thunder taking Noah Sengue at pick 11. Now we have the Warriors with the 12th pick, and I've been selecting the 6'8 freshman who'll play alongside Yakushonis at Illinois, that being Will Riley. Riley is a wildly impressive scorer from anywhere on the floor. He can score in isolation with his nasty handle, go to work off handoffs and screens, create in the pick and roll and run the break. He's an elite shooter off the dribble and off the catch, and just generally has awesome touch and tough shot making ability. He does have a very thin frame, so that limits him on both ends, but he has the movement ability and length to be effective on defense. The Warriors have made some really solid picks of late, but adding a talent with star potential like Will Riley could pay off massively as they transition into the post-Steph era. So I have the Warriors taking Will Riley at 12. At 13, I have the Rockets taking Liam McNeely, the 6'7 freshman headed to UConn. The Rockets have a stacked young core and will likely have a few decisions to make next offseason, but in this mock, I just have them taking a high field wing sniper, which is a great archetype to bet on. Liam has textbook mechanics, is comfortable shooting off movement and from NBA range, but he can also put the ball on the floor and make plays when his shot isn't there. He's a very strong connector and pretty much the perfect second side operator. He's also a very solid athlete, but ultimately his ability to hang on the defensive side of the ball will be the swing skill. I really love his game and think he's a great prospect to bet on at this point, so I have the Rockets selecting Liam McNeely at 13. The Hawks are up with the Lakers pick 14, and I have them selecting Boogie Fland, the 6'2 freshman headed to Arkansas. I like Atlanta's group of guards, Dyson Daniels is awesome, but I'm not entirely confident Trey will stick around long term. And Boogie, in my opinion, is the best player available. He's a bursty guard with a tight handle and a deep bag who can get his shot off against anyone. He's a high level shooter with a quick trigger, although I do think he has some things to clean up with his lower body mechanics. He's a strong finisher inside with soft touch and excellent body control, and adding to his in-between game would make him super tough to defend. He'll have to compete with DJ Wagner and Janelle Davis for minutes and usage, but he should have a Rob Dillingham or Reed Shepherd-esque role regardless, and I expect him to be very damaging at Arkansas. So I have the Hawks taking Boogie Fland with the 14th pick in the 2025 draft, concluding this particular iteration. And finally, shout out to some guys I think are potential lotto level talents that just didn't make the cut in this video. I'll put them up right on screen right now, so make sure to check out their games as well. Alright, that's all I've got for this one. I know it has been a very long time. I barely put out videos in the last 2 or so years. I appreciate anyone who made it this far. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. I should have some more videos coming out soon, so stay tuned. And anyway, that's all I got. JB Hoops, out.